You have just made the best decision you could ever make. Tuning in to the Towanna Murphy Show. That's what's up.
That's what's up. Towanna Murphy Show. That's what's up.
And good morning and welcome to the Towanna Murphy Show. And boy, do I have an amazing show for you. Lately, we've been talking about New Year's Eve. And New Year's Eve is here. And so somebody called me the other day. They was telling me about the rituals that people do for New Year's Eve. Of course, my mom had already told me to do pinto beans or black eyed peas. It was black eyed peas. You always supposed to put black eyed peas on the stove when New Year's come in. Either you're starting them or they already halfway done or they're done. No matter what happens, you're supposed to have black eyed peas on the stove. So I got my black eyed peas. I got those ready. So, because, you know, it's coming, y'all. It's coming. At midnight, it's coming. And then we're going to be in a whole new year. But I read on some other rituals. One of the rituals that they was talking about was at the new year, the woman is not supposed to go across the threshold. You always supposed to have a man come across the threshold. And that's supposed to be good luck and prosperity. So the only man in my life is Ethan. So I'm going to have to wake Ethan up and tell Ethan, go outside and come back in. So we can get that good luck. Just go outside and come back in. Because that was one of the rituals that people do for good luck for the new year. Now the Hispanics have one that I looked into the other day, and it was saying that when New Year's come in, you take a big bucket of water and you throw it on the door and you throw it on the window. That also brings good luck. Another one was putting some money under the rug. If you keep some money under the rug, well, that ain't gonna last long in my house because I get broke real quick. So that ain't gonna last long in my house having the money under the rug. That ain't gonna work because as soon as I get hungry and that's all I got a $20 on there, I'm going to get that $20, so it ain't gonna stay long, so I ain't gonna try that one. But there's several rituals that people do for New Year's Eve. Special colors, which is one. Special colors that you're supposed to wear New Year's Eve, bringing into New Year's Day is yellow, white, and gold. Those three colors also represent prosperity, good luck, and money, and fortune. Well, fortune didn't work for me last year. I had on white. I don't understand what happened with the fortune because the white didn't work for me. Because guess what? I ain't rich yet still. So that one didn't work for me. So I'm going to try it again this year. This year I'm going to try yellow because I'm going to a sneaker party. So I'm going to try yellow this time. So maybe the yellow will work. You know, they got this new thing that they do where you wear a evening gown with tennis shoes. So I'm going to do yellow tennis shoes with my sequence dress and a scarf, a yellow scarf. I'm going to do that for the party tonight. You bring in New Year's with bright colors and gold. What, my dress not gold. My dress, what's the color of my dress? I'm trying to figure out what color my dress is. What color my dress? Oh, my color of my dress is burgundy. So I'm doing burgundy and yellow. I'm just going to accent it with the yellow so it can look cute for New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day because that's one of the rituals that we were talking about. So my son asked me a question earlier today. He asked me a question. Ethan always asks questions. You know what? I'm still trying to figure out what to do with a son that's highly intelligent at 8 years old because he asks me so many questions and I don't understand, you know, half of it. So I got to go look it up because I wasn't that smart. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I wasn't that smart. I was a little slow in high school. I was a little slow. So I had to have tutors because I'm telling you, I was a little slow. It took me a minute to catch on to what was going on. And my son, this 8-year-old that's brilliant, he said something to me and he said, Mom. And I said, yeah. He said, now you got to be careful out there. He said, because the weather is crazy. He said, did you know in Brooklyn, New York, they almost got 30 inches of snow? He said, people dying down there. And I said, you know what, son? I said, you're right. I said, I was looking at that the other day. And so he said, a lady died in the car leaving work. She got stuck in the car. And so I said, well, Ethan, how did she die if she got stuck in the car? He said, because it was so much snow and she kept trying to make the car go forward, what happened was all the carbon monoxide that was going on the outside came in the inside and instantly killed her. I said, you sure right. This 8-year-old now talking to me. And at first I was trying to figure out how he knows so much, but my son researches a lot of stuff. He's a researcher. At 8 years old, he is a researcher. He will research stuff. He was saying stuff to me the other day. I ain't gonna say that on TV because then it may bring me bad luck for New Year's Eve. So I ain't saying what he told me the other day. So we're gonna leave that where it is because my son cries. Something wrong with him. But he do that all the time. And so those are some of the rituals that we do for New Year's Eve. Listen, I got to get ready to go to commercial break. And when I come back from commercial break, y'all, I have some amazing guests. I have the Honorable Judge Joe Brown, who is running for Memphis mayor, and I have the Honorable, I call him the Honorable too, Justin Pearson, who is running for State Representative District 86, which was Barbara Cooper's seat. You're watching the Towanna Murphy Show right here on CW30. I'll be right back right after this.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down and down. It's happened during every economic cycle, and it will happen again. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value and sometimes grows during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
And we're back. Welcome back to the Towanna Murphy Show right here on CW30. And my special guest is the one and only Justin Pearson, who is running for State Representative District 86. Now, many of you may know him from the pipeline because he was the front runner with stopping the pipeline with coming through Memphis. And also, he fought against TVA with them having a lifetime contract. So he's going to elaborate on that more because we got an election. Early voting is January 4th, and we got an early election, and we want the right people to serve us. And we know what Barbara Cooper's statement was: accountability, honesty, and integrity. So welcome to the Towanna Murphy Show, Justin Pearson. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you. Thank you for all of the work that you've done to elevate the issues in our community and helping to make sure that your viewers and the people of Memphis, but all over, understand what work needs to be done at this point in time. And I'm glad to be here with you and talk about what we're looking to do to fight for justice and to make that vision, right, of honesty, integrity, accessibility remain in District 86 with me as the next state representative.
Yes, sir. Now, tell the people that don't know you and not familiar with you who you are and what you stand for.
Yeah. I am Justin J. Pearson. I'm a fourth generation South Memphian from Westwood, born the son of teenage parents who really worked to elevate their children, all four of my brothers and myself, out of poverty with the help of two matriarchs, my grandmother Pearson and my grandmother Gwen. You know, I understand what it means to have the lack of access to opportunity, what it means to be denied access to opportunity, and also what it means when you get that chance. And at Mitchell High School, I fought to get us textbooks when I was in high school, all the way to the opportunity to get us advanced placement courses, which has reaped dividends for me, being able to go to college, gain an education, studying government and legal studies and education studies, and also gaining an education that allows me to realize when we as a community are being attacked, called places of points and paths of least resistance, we have a responsibility and an opportunity to fight back. And it is that spirit, it is that education, that training that I got in Westwood, that I got in South Memphis, and that I want to continue to do in those communities, downtown and Millington as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, running for District 86, what are your plans when elected? If you notice, I didn't say if elected, I said when elected. What are your plans?
I appreciate that. Look, we've got a lot of issues, and you can spend a lot of time talking about all the problems that we have, from Millington to issues downtown to issues in Southwest Memphis. And the reality is we need to get a strong understanding of those. Right. But when I look at it, some of the ones that we really want to address have to do with educational equity, has to do with economic justice, getting people jobs and workforce training and development in order that they can be able to be successful and not just working in the plantation economy, unfortunately, of being stuck in warehouses indefinitely, all the way to making sure we're working on affordable housing issues. And undergirded in this is the issues that we all know too well as relates to crime and the injustices happening to people in that way. As the representative for District 86, and if it be God's will, and if your viewers and a lot of folks vote for us, one of the things that I'm going to make sure we do is put forward legislation that addresses these issues. We need more funding that is equitably distributed into our communities so that the money isn't going to private schools and to religious schools that are taking away our money for public schools like Mitchell, the one that I went to.
Yeah.
We need more
My
money
daughter
for,
graduated.
Mitchell Tigers, the best place to have been. We need more money going into our community, not just for more police officers, but to prevent crime.
Right.
So that means youth services and training. We need more resources going to folks to deal with health care and mental health care issues that is leading to some of the issues as it relates to criminality. You got a lot of poor folks who are locked up in 201 Poplar right now because they couldn't afford bail, but also because they didn't have medical care to help with some of the needs that they have. So we've got a lot of things, but I think as a state representative, one of the big things you have is the power of the purse. There's money coming down from the federal government to the state government that we need to get access to. And one of the big things I've been fortunate to fight in the environmental and climate justice movement, a lot of folks know me for that, is infrastructure. The climate is going to keep changing.
Of course.
We're going to continue to experience really hot days, really cold winters. We're going to experience issues like we've had in the past week where we've lost people in our community because of them having to live literally outside. And we're dealing right now with the boil water advisory. We need a representative who understands the issues of environmental and climate change, as well as the issues directly impacting the community. And that's me, because we're going to get some money from the state into District 86 specifically to address these issues.
Now, Boxtown has an issue, and it has been brought to my attention several times that they're having issues with trash pickups and they're having issues with their water. And they've been addressing this issue for years now. Years they've been addressing it, but nothing has been done. When elected, what would you do to help Boxtown? Because that's the hardest hit, area over there is Boxtown and Walker Homes.
That's
so
right.
those are the hardest hit ones that don't get tended to.
That's
because
right.
I think about last year, I think it was last year, I called and acted like I was the inspectors. And told them if they don't empty that trash, I'm gonna find them.
They
said,
"Who's
you
gotta do what you gotta do."
Right, I said, I'm Inspector Smith. I said, I'm new here. Y'all don't know me. Y'all don't get that trash up, I'm finding everybody. So I had to call and act like I was an inspector in order to get the trash from Walker Homes and Boxtown. That's the biggest issue that they're having over there. How would you tackle that?
The disinvestment that's happened in Boxtown and Westwood, Walker Home, West Junction area is discrimination. It is what racism looks like in this country, and it is what it looks like in our community. The people in Boxtown and Walker Homes, West Junction, are the most hardest working, beautiful, strong, most amazing folks that I've gotten to know in my entire life. I've been fortunate to walk through the community, to stop the pipeline, walk through it campaigning, and it's a welcoming community of people who really just want their equitable piece of the pie. And the reality is a lot of people in Boxtown own their homes. They're paying city taxes, they're paying county taxes, and they're not seeing the services come into the district. One of the jobs of the state representative is to be an advocate. It isn't just to fight for legislation in Nashville, and I promise you I'll do that. In a supermajority Republican legislature, that can be challenging, but it's to be an advocate that is accessible to the community's voice. And so I'll tell you a quick story. One of the women in Boxtown, I'll use the name, Miss Williams, is dealing with an issue right now of not getting compensation for her son who was murdered, and making sure that his dependents get the necessary resources, right? And so I've worked and am calling people in Nashville to help connect them so that she can get the necessary recompense for her granddaughter. We got to have an advocate who's proximate to the people and who cares about them, not just running because it's an opportunity to run, not running because they've got a family name, not running because they've been in office before.
I'm glad you said that, Justin. I'm just glad you said that. You just say that one more time so that people all the way in the back can hear what you just said. Say that again. Just that part.
I got
say
you.
It.
We need we need an elected leader who is proximate and cares about the community. They're not just running because they always run for office. They're not just running because they have a family name. They're not running because they've been in politics and have made a career out of it. They're running because they care about the people in Boxtown. They care about the people in Walker Homes. They care about the people in West Junction and Millington and downtown. And they want to make sure that we give the necessary support to the people in those places and have the energy to do that work in Nashville and in Memphis, and also have a track record of doing it as well.
Now, you said something just a few minutes ago about with the water situation and what we got going on, and I'm going to ask Judge Joe Brown when he comes on too about this same situation. Last week we had a rolling blackout, which means we got people all over the city out of water. I was out of water 4 days, and so we're trying to figure out why do we have this rolling blackout, and because you have been giving out water to the citizens that don't have water still.
Yeah.
So how can we eliminate these rolling blackouts? Because they still not. Millington was out for 7 hours.
Yes.
7 hours.
Yeah.
They said it was going to be 30 minutes or an hour, but they were out 7 whole hours. They ruined Christmas. They ruined Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So how can we prevent that from happening next time?
Yeah. There's one, you got to have leadership that is proactive and not just reactive.
Yes.
Right. And so in being proactive, we got to look at, one, where are we getting our power from? We get our power from the Tennessee Valley Authority, MLG&W, all of us pay as customers, and then we use that power. The Tennessee Valley Authority is using natural gas to power a lot of these places, right? Natural gas, fossil gas, contributes to climate change, okay? The more plants that they build using fossil gas, or they call it natural gas, but fossil gas, the more it's going to hurt the climate, the more we're going to experience cold weather incidences, the more we're going to need rolling blackouts, the more we're going to need people who are out there, just like we were today in Fraser and Raleigh, giving out waters, because we're not addressing the larger systemic problem. So there's one thing about, we need to be proactive and tell them to stop building using things that are going to create the issues that we're having now. But there's another problem here. Who is getting their lights cut out first and for the longest periods of time?
Ooh-wee.
And I'm looking at that map from MLGW, and I'm seeing Millington, and I'm seeing Boxtown and Westwood, that's in the red the longest periods of time. And I'm trying to find out, one of the things that I want to get really serious about with other colleagues is, which communities are being targeted first to have their lights go off? And why are we seeing a disproportionate amount of that, from what I am seeing, a disproportionate amount of that in Black communities, a disproportionate amount of that in District 86, and not other places.
Right.
And so there's a part of this that's reactive to what we saw happen, because it impacted people's Christmas, it impacted people's holidays, but it was impacting a particular group of folks for way too long, and we need to get some answers to that.
And that's what we were talking about the other day, how the lowest part of the city suffered the longest.
That's right.
I live in Oak Haven, but my mom and most of my family live in Boxtown. They live in Walker Homes. I got some that live in parts of Millington. So I have family that live out there, and they were complaining. And I said, well, Justin gonna answer the question. Y'all watch the show.
Watch the show.
Watch the show. He gonna answer the questions for y'all, because those are questions that they throw out all the time. Who's going to help us?
That's right. Me.
And yeah, exactly.
I
and
promise.
so that's what they need. Who's going to be on the forefront? Who's going to help us? Who's actually serious about this seat?
Yeah, but you can look at what folks have done. I think it was Janet Jackson maybe had a song, "What Have You Done For Me Lately?"
Oh yeah,
right? What have you done for me lately? I promise you can look at what I've done lately. We stopped a multi-billion-dollar corporation from building a pipeline that was going to endanger our water and air. We stopped Memphis Light Gas and Water from signing a never-ending contract with the Tennessee Valley Authority. You can see that when I was 15, we got textbooks at Mitchell High School and advanced placement courses, and a lot of those folks went on to college. A lot of them are business owners and things now in the city. I've been committed to this community. I will be committed to this community no matter what happens with this election, but I hope to have folks vote and folks support, but realize I'm not going anywhere, because it doesn't matter when the elections happen. What matters is that the people in this community get served. And there are too many folks who aren't servant leaders, who are taking advantage of an opportunity. But before there was an election,
right,
I was walking those streets.
Exactly, and I was just going to say that. You're going to be walking them afterwards.
That's
so
right.
It's not that you're somebody that's jumping in a race that haven't done anything for the city. You're always out there with boots on the ground.
That's right.
You know, and those are people we need to serve us. People that always got boots on the ground, whether they're in any kind of position.
That's right.
That's what we need, and we're not seeing that. Yeah. Most of these people that's running for this office probably haven't even ran for a position in 20, 30 years. But all of a sudden, an opportunity comes, bam, here they are. Opportunity arises, there it is.
Yep.
And so that's what we're dealing with right now. And so with that being said, Justin, it's almost like nobody's hearing them in 86. Nobody's did anything in 86.
Yeah.
That has been the problem.
Yeah.
Nobody's serving the people.
That's right.
And so you serve the people. You've always served the people. And that's what I told you when we first met. You've always served the people. And we need somebody honest. We need somebody that's going to do the right thing by our people. And not just get out there and just say, I want to run for this position because it's an open position or because they have a name for themselves.
That's right.
We need somebody that's actually going to do the job. And I know that you're going to do the job.
To the best of my ability,
You're going to
I
do the
promise.
job. You're going to do the job. there's one thing that I have to ask you before we go to commercial break, and this is education, because that was one of Barbara Cooper's biggest thing, was education.
Yeah.
That was her thing. How would you tackle that?
Yeah. If we do not educate kids pre-K through 12 and young people after they graduate high school to not only go into 4-year schools but also going into workforce training programs, we're going to continue to see a lot of the issues that are happening within our community persisting. Now, I am really fortunate. I grew up with a mother who's been a teacher for 20 years. She's working on a doctorate in education. So my education platform comes from her. And one of the biggest things we're going to have to focus on is literacy. We got to make sure that young people and children know how to read and know how to be literate as it relates to their ABCs and also their A++s. As technology changes, as computer science becomes more important, we need to make sure that young people and children in particular, our youth, are being prepared for jobs of the future, which really, if you're in the workforce, are jobs of the present. And what has happened, right, is some schools have gotten the money to do that.
Right.
Other schools have not.
Have not.
And those schools are disproportionately in our lower income areas, in our black communities, and that has to change. There's a formula at the state level that dictates how much money goes to certain communities called the BEP. That formula right now gives a disproportionate amount of our money, because Memphis and Nashville pay the most significant amount in taxes to the state of Tennessee, to communities that are not ours.
Okay.
And so we've got to change that.
Now, real quick, because they tell me to wrap it up,
Yeah.
real quick, if you could give the advice to the youth of today, what would that be? Real quick.
Listen to your elders. Listen to those who came before you. I am really fortunate to have had the opportunity to listen to people like Representative Barbara Cooper, my grandmothers and others. Listen to people who have come so far and have so much to give, and it'll help you on your journey.
Thank you so much, Justin Pearson. Of course, you know I'm going to have you back, right?
I'm
you
looking
know you
forward
coming
to
back.
it.
You know you're coming back. Y'all, I got to go to a quick commercial break, but when I come back, the Honorable Judge Joe Brown will be my guest, and you don't want to miss it. Stick and stay. Y'all ain't going nowhere. You're watching the Towanna Murphy Show right here on CW30. I'll be right back right after this.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. With your insurance, you may qualify to get a new CGM right now at little or no cost to you. By wearing a small remote device, you can immediately reduce the painful finger sticks. They're accurate, easy to use, and help you make better diabetes treatment decisions. If you take insulin 3 or more times a day or use an insulin pump, I want you to call right now and take advantage of our free shipping offer. Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. Guess what? They want your money and they can take it, all of it if they want. So what do? You fight back by letting our team of experts work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. Call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket. 5 minutes of your time can save you thousands of dollars. So please call right now.
And we're back. Thank you for watching the Towanna Murphy Show right here on CW30. My special guest is no stranger to TV. We know this man. He's known all over the world, and he's my friend. And we've had our arguments, but he's my friend. Y'all, welcome to the Towanna Murphy Show, Judge Joe Brown, and he is running for Memphis mayor. Thank you for coming to my show, Judge Joe Brown.
Well, we've done these shows before,
Yeah.
years in the past.
Years in the past, we've done these shows.
It's strange we were talking about the late Mrs. Dr. Barbara Cooper. She recruited me about 2.5 years ago and said, you have to come out of retirement and do this. So she ran my exploratory committee and chaired our Zoom meetings until things happened to her a few months ago.
Now, you know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know. And when you talked to me about that Barbara Cooper pushed you back out here, that's an amazing honor right there.
Well, yes. I mean, she's a great woman.
She's a
Well,
great
great woman. I've known her. I think I met her in 1974. We were both on the Title I Education Committee. And I talked her through running for a first office in the 90s and getting a doctorate degree. I was on the bench, so I couldn't campaign for her, but she was a great, outstanding leader.
Now, you're running for Memphis mayor. And I know you're knowledgeable of what's going on in Memphis. Justin J. Pearson said something a few minutes ago about our water situation with TBA and the rolling blackouts. I need you to piggyback on that. When elected for mayor, what would you do to prevent that?
Oh,
from
there's
happening?
some things to be done, and there's some people to be fired. See, one of our problems in this town is the money that ought to be used to revitalize the infrastructure is going elsewhere. It's under the table.
Okay.
Now, you two are also talking about something else that I look at this way. A town has a foundation. If the bottom is bad, the top is very shaky. Now, Memphis has one of the highest per capita incomes in America in one part of it and one of the lowest in the other part.
Right.
But as long as that is the situation, nobody's going anywhere. It's a geographic location that no place else in America enjoys. This is the distribution center of North America. The Mississippi River crosses this Tennessee Valley where I-40 runs from New York all the way to Los Angeles. This is where everything ships from. Europe is trying to get barge traffic in here where they load the barges up in Europe, put them on transports, get them across the Mediterranean
So
into
they're trying to
New
get
Orleans.
them into Memphis.
Get into Memphis, but they're being blocked. Why are they being blocked? Because there's some big fish in a middle pond. It would be very small fish in a very large pond.
Whoa.
So we need to stop that. We need restructuring of the police department so it's under civilian control and direction, not just civilian oversight. We need to take back our educational access so that the city does something about it, getting its own input into what's happening with this county board situation. And I think it was a very bad move to have surrendered our educational
To the
control.
charter.
Yes.
I was going there, Judge, but you're ahead of me. You gotta stay with me now. Stick and stay with me.
Oh, well,
Stay
I'm
with me.
trying to. The other thing, too, is look at this. We have a filthy town, and there's no reason why we can't cooperate with the criminal courts, with the people they've got doing community service and other things so we can get the town cleaned up. We want to sink $750 million into converting a football field into a soccer
To a
stadium.
soccer stadium, yeah.
$250 million on financing a major international hotel so they can improve the downtown skyline. How many people are they going to employ? 120 people, max?
Max.
So anyway, and then we've got this thing where they sold 25 acres downtown Memphis that was centered on the Greyhound bus depot. 25 acres of downtown territory for the $600K, and the city is basically renting that back.
Now,
so
why
it
you
turned
saying
it-
that right there? When you say that, let's go into Mud Island.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Because they're getting ready. We don't know exactly what they're going to do with Mud Island, but I think you know what they're going to do
I
with
know
Mud
what they're
Island.
going to do. See, let me give you a thing. Mud Island, 1988.
Okay.
There was the A.W. Willis Bridge. There was a right angle stop sign intersection there.
I
They
remember
sold
that.
that stop sign, that corner, to a developer for $13,600, and within 90 days he sold it back to the city for $6.8 million. What's going on? That's corruption. That's just absolute corruption. Then they made it a round yield, and now they have a roundabout. Why is it $85 million worth of pyramid got given away to Bass Pro?
Yeah.
And we finished the thing up, put the elevators up the side, restaurant at the top. We managed security, upkeep, and everything else. And how much do we get out of that?
Nothing.
All right, now, see, that's the problem. Too many of the people that are running in place in these offices, they get in there because for this scant amount of money that they get paid, they're going to be well-to-do in a few years. How is that? You see, that's not good. There is a public trust that exists between the elected officials and the public, and that public expects people to manage the city, the county, the courts, and the administrative offices for the benefit of the people, not for themselves. See, we've got a lot of show stuff out there that is doing absolutely nothing, so there needs to be a calculus put in where, okay, how much do the people get out of this when we spend that? And if you go down and you look at what we have got in terms of income from taxation,
Right.
it's pretty good. But where we spend it, we get nothing out of it. Now, one of the things that we do need to do is, instead of worrying about TVA, They've got modules for hydroelectric generation that are used in tidal streams that we can put down in this Mississippi River and run 24/7,
And
we
that
would
would
have
ease up
free
our
energy.
bills.
Well, not ease it. Would basically eliminate it, other than what you'd have to pay for the people that managed it, ran it. It would be unlimited free energy for MATA to convert to electric buses. We could sell the surplus from New Orleans to Louisville, Chicago, and all points in between. See, and that would be a prototype for America to use its rivers for these modular hydroelectric generators so that we could do something with them, cooperate with the Corps of Engineers. And there is development money that we are not looking at. We have Ford Motor Company and Cadillac, both high end, low end on electric cars. California says nothing but electric cars, and I think it's about 13 and a half more years. And the rest of the world, we're having the 7 largest car manufacturers in the world saying all the new cars are going to be electric. This could be the new Detroit right here. And when we have all of this industrial territory out here where we had International, Harvester, John Deere, Firestone that can be developed, that is just sitting fallow because people aren't making anything under the table. Hey.
Judge, I want to ask you this question. I should have asked Justin the question too, but crime is so high in our city. And everybody's trying to find out, how can we minimize the
how to
crime
do it.
in the city?
I know how to do it.
Go ahead.
When I was on the bench, Division 9 criminal court, I was the first judge for that division. That was 30-some years ago.
Okay.
Over a 10-year period, they did a study, reduced the statewide recidivism rate from 80% down to just 18%. I put some programs in place to do vocational rehabilitation, academic rehabilitation, character rehabilitation, and I got out in the streets, and you could find the judge now at 2 a.m. in the morning. Hey, young man, come over here. What are you doing? I told you you needed to be in your house or where you lived at 11 o'clock. You see me day after tomorrow. But I might have 25 or 30 other people out there in his group when the sun came up. See, somebody needs to exercise that kind of leadership to get out up close and personal and start building character.
Right.
We need to, not only that, we need to start setting up some community-based arbitration tribunals, so by contract in areas where lawyers can't even practice, we can get citizens a chance to resolve their disputes and cut out interpersonal violence. We need to put fatherhood back in the hood, which is very important.
Yes,
we need some
very important.
Second Amendment stuff, urban militias that are controlled by the city, not this Proud Boy nonsense, but we need to get the fathers back out there. Hey, boy, come here. What are you doing? Earl, you know him?
You speaking. You
know this
speaking,
boy?
Judge. You doing
I think
it.
I know his
You
mama. Don't
speaking.
you live 2 streets over, son? Yeah, man. No, it ain't going to be like that. Get on. See, we need that kind of thing so we can take control. Now, industry, there's an opportunity to get the car manufacturers in Asia to, instead of ship across the Pacific, they can save thousands of miles if they shipped in through the Suez Canal, the Mediterranean, and came up to Memphis. There's a 120-foot deep channel, 2 of them that run through this area. And then in Europe, they have these standardized containers that they load up barges with, also trains and planes and trucks. And we can load those barges, put them on the transports, and if you go to the port of New Orleans, you can see these things that look like 1,000-foot long streamline oil tankers. Bring them over here, drop the rear hatch, float them to President's Island, which is the world's largest barge unloading facility. And that's when they would run the stuff through customs, so we could have all that industry coming in here and going out of here.
Now,
But
Judge,
we don't deal with
with
this.
it. We don't deal with it. Now, Judge, because I got 5 minutes left before I go into my next commercial break, what would you change in Memphis?
Okay, put the people back in charge.
Okay.
See, everybody who doesn't have a clue, I'm going to set up a program and we're going to throw money at the program and we're going to put people in charge who don't have a clue either. And meanwhile, people will be able to make money for their friends who got them in office. See, one of the things that people ought to look at is when the candidates file these campaign finance disclosures with Nashville, take a look and see who owns them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take a look, and you'd be surprised at what you're going to find.
Now, you know what? You and Justin got to work together because both of y'all have that same mentality, that same mindset. Just listening to both of you talk. You have that same thing, and y'all actually on the same level, to be honest with you. And he's a young. He's young
probably
guy.
got
He's
more
27.
energy than me.
Yeah, he got more energy.
I'm about 55, 60 years older than him. See, I'm not from Memphis, but I've been here for a half century.
Right,
So I've
like
seen
that.
it go through a lot of things. I can remember when I first got here, they had just integrated the courts.
Okay.
And I can remember being called the N-word by judges
Wow.
who thought I was on their docket. So sometimes, like the mentors I had, like H.T. Lockard, A.A. Ladding, A.W. Willis, Russell Sugarman, Otis Higgs, and that group, you know, we worked with each other, and I remember when all of the lawyers and law graduates in Memphis could fit in H.T. Lockard's law office in his library, and a lot of room was left over. And we all dedicated ourselves to this proposition that, hey, it's an ongoing struggle. Everybody owes, everybody has suffered, everybody has benefited, so you have to give back. What are you about character-wise? And see, that's that thing, the man in the mirror bit, and that's not just Michael Jackson, that was a principle before that. That's what I found worked so well when you talked about rehabilitation. You look in the mirror every morning and you say, hey, were you a man yesterday? Or if it's a woman, were you a woman yesterday? You're gonna be a man today? Are you prepping to be a better man tomorrow? Is it your job to make where you live a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity,
Right.
sense of purpose, morality, and ethics? Are you a man of public peace, dignity, and order who can be brave and courageous when necessary? See, people have to start doing that, and we have people that live in Memphis who are that way. East Memphis, North Memphis, and South Memphis. And by the way, everybody needs to be treated the same.
The same, all the way around. All the way around, Judge. I think I got about 3 minutes left. And the same question I asked everybody to come on my show. If you could give advice to the youth of today, what would that be?
Stay focused, have a purpose, have a cause, and when you have that, there's none of this, hey man, like I'm gonna be dead before I'm 24. What difference does it make? Well, if you're gonna be dead before you're 24, then you are an ideal hero. You've got nothing to lose, because even if you don't get to the end of the tunnel, you don't see the daylight, you can deal with the fire-breathing Gila monsters that are setting flames to the tunnel and get the people you're responsible for there. We need to start putting character back into this town, and it's there, and we need to start improving the quality of life, and we need to start talking to the youth, and somebody needs to play chieftain and get out there and start saying, this is how you do it. You want to get somewhere, this is what you do to be a man, or ladies, it's what you do to be a woman.
Thank you so much, Judge Joe Brown. Listen, I got to get ready to go to commercial break. You're watching the Towanna Murphy Show right here on CW30, y'all. This election is heating up, and the next year is going to be off the chain. I'll be right back right after this.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down and down. It's happened during every economic cycle, and it will happen again. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value and sometimes grows during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
And we're back. Thank you for watching the Towanna Murphy Show. And I have the pleasure of having these two young men with me. Yeah, I'm calling Judge Young. I'm calling them young. Justin J. Pearson and the Honorable Judge Joe Brown is here with me. And these are some of the issues that they're going to tackle when elected into these seats. And one of the major problems that we have is fear. crime and violence in our city that continues to plague our city day after day, and some of us don't want to go to the grocery store or get gas or even go to our cars or carports or even in our garages, because we know that somebody is there waiting on us. And we've seen that happen in the last few weeks and years, actually months, because one of our people were killed just sitting in her car. So she was probably texting and was killed in her car. And Memphis want to feel safe. And we want people that's in those offices to make us feel safe. So I'm going to ask Judge Joe Brown the question first about how we can keep our people safe when y'all elected crime and violence in the city. How can we minimize that?
See, first off, you can't have one segment of the population feel estranged from what's supposed to be running the municipality. Too many people can't walk where they represent. So you have to be out there and be part of the people. You have to understand it. And I know when I was on the criminal bench, there were a lot of programs that worked. Basically, the programs just hook the right people up, because it's not the program, it's the people.
Right.
And you need people who get it, who can go out and put together employment opportunities, to take money from international hotels that the city is using to subsidize their profit margin and start putting them into subsidizing summer and holiday income for the youth. When you have money in your pockets, you aren't as prone to be criminal. Take the would-be thug and turn them into somebody who becomes part of the orderly process. It's amazing what you can do. Take the high schools, put courts in the high schools to deal with the youth problem. Let them start getting used to resolution of conflict. See, there are a lot of things you can do.
Justin?
Those are fantastic. I just can only affirm. We have to ensure that we have opportunities for young people to have jobs, to have access to more opportunities, and we need to have restorative justice. Those restorative justice programs in schools, and we need to have them in our broader community, because only making more people be viewed as criminals contributes to the problem. But we also have to be honest. The issues of crime, carjacking, and violence are real. This year, one of my mentors, Dr. Yvonne Nelson, was murdered. This is hitting home for a lot of people and a lot of us. And so I definitely understand folks' fear and worry, and I can commit to you the importance that I will place on reducing crime, getting access to resources for people who are victims of crime, and also doing the work to prevent crime from happening in the first place will be a priority that I work on alongside a lot of other colleagues. But the fear is real, and the consequences, right, of carjackings, of these joyrides people are going on, people not being able to go to work, people having their cars destroyed, people having their lives lost, their loved ones being killed, right, is leaving irreparable harm, in our neighborhoods.
Right.
And like we gotta talk about that, and we have to address it with different solutions than the ones that have been presented to date.
Right.
Because the ones presented to date, they haven't worked.
They haven't worked. And now we have these, you just said that about the carjackers. You sure did. Both of y'all just mentioned that, because that's been the fear, like, for everybody. I had a friend that went to a party at a hotel, and every car in that lot window was busted out, and their personal things were taken
Well, you know what
out.
they're after
It's the
is
fear.
the guns.
They're after
It's the
guns.
fear. Yeah.
Yep.
They're not after the belongings so much as the guns. See,
That's
you
right.
see the sign that says no guns allowed. People put them in their glove compartments to go in, and then they go and break out the passenger side window, jack the glove compartment, and look in.
And take the guns.
Guns. And that's part of the reason that the legislation and the legislature matters, because they passed legislation that made it okay to carry a gun without a permit. And so you've got 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds who are in search of guns, who are gaining access to them, and who are committing crimes with them, right? Like, laws matter.
They do.
Legislators matter.
They do.
And they are after guns, and they are after certain cars in particular. And we're talking about young people who could be directed in another way. But we cannot only be reactive. We're going to have to get proactive with some of this.
Exactly.
And we're going to have to figure out a way to compensate the people who are being the victims of these crimes.
Right, exactly. And go ahead, Judge. You was
Well, I
gonna
was
say
just going to say one thing, too. I've had more murders I had to try where somebody used a rock, wrench, hammer, kitchen knife, screwdriver to do the homicide than gunfire. But it's a matter of character. See, we have to do something about addressing the character issue. Nobody does that. Everybody's supposed to be entitled. Everybody gets a participation ribbon. You're supposed to get what you want. You get frustrated, instead of working hard to get it, you go take it. See, that's got to change. People have to be made to understand that they have a stake in what happens around here.
That's right.
You got to put that fire in them, so it's like, hey, clean up your neighborhood, man.
Right.
It's, could be okay. Keep your children and your grandchildren here.
Right, exactly. Now, I have an idea, and this is an idea that I had before. We have this program here for MLGNW where they focus on the elderly during the winter months, where they'll have their bill reduced to a certain amount every month until after the winter is over. And I think that we need a program for everybody, not just the senior citizens, because a lot of people can't afford these bills. Our bills are being tripled through this this new thing that they got. I forgot the name of it.
Fuel cost adjustment
Yeah,
rate.
exactly. Adjustment rate. And so it should be that me as a single mother paying rent that's $1,200 a month and should be able to be on a budget with my electric bill where I pay a flat rate, no matter how high the bill gets, a flat rate. In the Midwest, we had it where it don't matter who you are. If your bill was high, they put you on a flat rate of $200 a month. That's all you pay, no matter what's going on with your other bills. It's helpful for everybody that has these $12,000 bills. My last bill last month was $1,400. How can we get that in place? You
Well,
know,
look at
if you're elected as mayor and if you're elected as state representative,
Yeah.
how can we
Well, look
get
at
that in
this.
place?
Memphis Light, Gas, and Water used to belong to the city until some decades ago somebody got the bright idea quasi-privatizing the thing. When I got here 50 years ago, there was snow on the ground continuously from late December all the way through March. We never had these problems. Nobody ever puts down salt to coat the streets so there's no icing. Nobody puts down sand. Nobody acts like we have these problems. We have smart meters broadcasting every 20 seconds, which screws up our cell phone connectivity services and everything else. So we have to pay
Judge,
for
wait a
it.
minute, back up. Now, that's the part I didn't, Justin, you knew that?
I didn't know that part.
I didn't know that part.
Oh, every
so you may
20
tell me that the
seconds,
smart
every-
meters
yeah, every-
affect our phones?
Yeah, it's on
Oh,
AT&T.
Justin, we slow. We missed that one. And you the smart one here.
See,
I don't know about that.
these smart
listening to
meters
Elvis. I told
contain
you.
a cell phone component. So every 20 seconds, they dial MLGNW and report your power usage. Every 20 seconds, it makes our cell phone screw up. It cost money, but what did you do? You made all these other people who read the meters lose their jobs. So what do you do with them? Do you expect them just to go twiddle their thumbs, or are they going to do something to compensate, which is leading to crime? That's less money in the household. See, what are we doing with these things? And go down sometimes and look at the city finance and see where the money goes, and then start doing a little calculus. Does this do anything for anybody in the city except this group right here?
I'm slow.
Yeah, we've got, and we've got to hold the Tennessee Valley Authority, the TVA, accountable for where they're getting their power from, because they're getting it from fracked gas and natural gas, which is why we get this fuel cost adjustment rate every summer. And so bills are doubling because TVA can say, oh wait, it cost us a lot more money, and so we're going to pass that over to you, right? Like that has to stop. In addition to that, we do need to make sure that the money that we're putting into MLGNW as ratepayers is coming back to us with weatherization of our homes, particularly elderly folks, particularly poor folks. 30+% of the people in this community are poor or lower income. 50% of the children go to bed at night low income or impoverished, right? Like we need intentional programs, but for the people and all of us who are paying into it, we need to see some returns on investment.
Yes. I got 1 minute left, y'all, and I gotta get out of here. And I gotta do my little wrap up that I do every Saturday morning. But I gotta have these guys back. Yeah,
Please.
I mean, I'm telling y'all, this just to listen to the knowledge that these men have, and here, young Thundercat, y'all know I say young Thundercat. Here, young Thundercat. That's the old Thundercat. I'm in between Thundercat.
There we go.
I'm the in between one, but the knowledge that these men have, I gotta bring them back because they spit knowledge to me that I didn't even know, especially with Judge O'Brien. He's talking about them smart meters. Baby, I was like, they on our phone. No wonder our phone be hacked. Have you noticed our phone be acting up like blue, 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 blue? It's a smart meters. It's a smart meters, y'all. I gotta go to commercial break. I will be right back here watching the Towanna Murphy Show right here on CW30, and I'll be right back right after this.
Served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 877-243-5238. That's 877-243-5238. Again, 877-243-5238.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solutions Center. With your insurance, you may qualify to get a new CGM right now at little or no cost to you. By wearing a small remote device, you can immediately reduce the painful finger sticks. They're accurate, easy to use, and help you make better diabetes treatment decisions. If you take insulin 3 or more times a day or use an insulin pump, I want you to call right now and take advantage of our free shipping offer. Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. Guess what? They want your money and they can take it, all of it if they want. So what do? You fight back by letting our team of experts work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. Call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket. 5 minutes of your time can save you thousands of dollars. So please call right now.
And we're back. Thank you for watching the Towanna Murphy Show right here on CW30 every Saturday at 10 a.m. Now listen, we are in election season, and we know that these ballots are super huge. And I say this all the time when we talk about voting and who's going out there to vote and how to get the voters to the polls and things like that. We talk about that all the time, but are we actually doing it? We have a few candidates that I see, and I know, and I think I can count on one hand how many candidates that I see out there that's actually on the ground floor before elections. Now, many of them will probably run, and you'll see them on the ground floor during elections because they're soliciting your votes. And that's the only time you will see them. Have many of you noticed that once you get somebody elected into those seats, that you never hear from them again? You never see them again until 6 months prior to election season, and then they come around and they want your vote. And whatever you need done, they'll make sure it's done because election season is coming back around, and most of us fall for that. I tried to tell y'all before, stop falling for the okie doke. We do it all the time. So they'll come and fix your streets, or they'll take care of your trash, or they'll do whatever you need them to do because they want to be re-elected or elected. Most of these people that sit in the seats have no idea what they're doing once they are elected. We've seen that in the past. I've fought for our rights. Y'all remember I had a group called Free the First. And that Free the First group was women speaking up for our senior citizens. And they kicked us out of city council about 5 years ago. Y'all remember when they kicked us out of city council? They told me I couldn't come in there, and they kicked my whole group out. Because we were speaking up for the senior citizens that don't have a voice. So what they do is they'll say whatever they want to say, and that's it, that's all, because our senior citizens didn't understand quite what they were talking about. So I formed that group, Free the First, because we were women that were speaking up for our senior citizens because they were doing the same thing 5-6 years ago that they're doing now, getting them out of their homes, not helping them fix their roofs, not doing things that they need to happen. And their complaints were going unheard. You can email them all you want to, and you still didn't get a response. And that's been our problem as citizens. We cannot get to our state representatives and our city councilmen. We can't get to our county commissioners because they won't respond to us when we need them. However, when it's time for election, every ninja in the world is at your doorstep. Whatever you want, you can get it. When they running for these mayor seats, oh, they your friends during the time they running for mayor. After they elected, You don't see them. How many times have you seen Mayor Jim Strickland? Don't worry, I'll wait. You haven't. You only seen Mayor Jim Strickland when it was time for election. I'm just going to speak about what I'm speaking about. I'm going to talk about what I'm talking about. Y'all know that. Or when it's something big that he has to speak about, then you will see Mayor Jim Strickland. Y'all have not seen Mayor Jim Strickland in the last 3 years. Nobody have seen him. Crime and violence is rising. He had the nerve to cuss a few months ago because he mad. You're not mad because if you was mad, you'd have been mad 8 years ago. Because this ain't just started. Memphis have been like this. Mike Williams put a billboard up a few years ago, and he got so much slack about that. He put a billboard up right there on I-240, and it said, enter at your own risk. That's what it read. Guess who was the mayor? Jim Strickland. Enter at your own risk. And everybody was so upset that Mike Williams put that up there, but he put that up there for a reason. Because crime and violence in our city has not minimized, it has grown tremendously. Tremendously. And I'm only telling you because this is what I witnessed. I'm part of this movement. This ain't nothing new to me. I always got boots on the ground. I did not do that I-40 bridge shutdown because They said, Towanna, why you on the bridge? Marching, we march all the time. What's the solution after we done marching? What have we solved? Every time something happened, we marching. Kids being killed on the street, we're marching. We're marching for rights of the people. But after the march is over, what have we done? What is the solution? Have we changed it? Everybody want to march. That ain't solving nothing. You want to solve an issue? Put boots on the ground. Not just when something big happens or when a white officer kills a black man, you want to jump out there. That's our issue right there. Then everybody want to fight the power. Black Lives Matter. Everybody marching. This ain't been happening. It's always happened. I told y'all before, and I'm going to tell you again, every 10 years they go to the drawing board and they vote to see if they want minority women to still vote. And still you don't exercise your right to vote. Most of y'all say, I don't want to vote. I ain't voting. But they still voting every 10 years to see if they even want to give us the right to vote. Some people still can't vote, and they took their rights away. This is a privilege for us. Our ancestors fought for the rights for us to vote, to have the same bathrooms. They fought for us to be where we are right now, to be a black woman on a major station. God, they fought for this. They fought for us to be here. And yet and still, y'all take it for granted until it's taken away from us. Voting is serious. Everybody get out to vote. These men need your vote. They're soliciting your vote. Change starts now. Change starts with you. Exercise your right to vote. You're watching the Towanna Murphy Show right here on CW30. And I will see y'all next week. Again, as always, thank you for loving me. You guys be safe. I love you with the love of Christ, and there's nothing you can do about it. Until next week, talk to y'all later.